Should you hire your family to help you save on taxes? As business owners, we're pretty much always looking for ways to save money when tax time rolls around. So how could hiring your kids or even maybe your grandparents or other family members be able to help you save money on taxes? That's what we're going to talk about here today, as well as how to do that the right way. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Jamie Trull, CPA and Profit Strategist, and here on this channel, I am breaking down all the tools, systems, and resources you need to have a more profitable business. So make sure to hit that subscribe button below to see my weekly content. So before we get into the how of family management and family LLCs, let's talk about what the benefits are of hiring a family member. The key benefit here is typically going to be being able to shift income from a higher income tax bracket, i.e. your income tax bracket, to a lower income tax bracket, i.e. the family member you're hiring. Typically, this is going to be a child, potentially a minor child who maybe has a 0% income tax rate, or someone else who potentially has a lower income tax rate than you do. So what that means is when you pay them, you're going to be writing that off in your business. It's going to be reducing your taxable income in your business. And then any amounts that you paid to them are going to be taxed at their rates instead of yours, which again, in some instances may be at or near zero. So this is true for younger children. Perhaps this is true also maybe even for parents that don't have other sources of income where you can actually shift that income to them. And the great thing about doing this as well is that having earned income also can allow even a minor child to be able to open up a Roth IRA and take advantage of that compounding of interest over lots and lots of years, which is a great way to set them up for success later in life. Now we're going to jump more into that towards the end of this video. But for right now, I want to talk about how this actually works to hire a family member and really what you need to make sure you're doing properly, because there are legal implications as well as tax implications depending on how you do this, okay? So I actually created a flowchart that is going to make this a lot easier to think through because there are a lot of if-thens, and anytime there's a lot of different scenarios, a flowchart I know helps my brain and hopefully it helps you too. So I'm going to put that up here so we can walk through it together. So importantly, the first thing we're going to start with is how old is the person you are hiring, because there are different rules depending on those ages that you need to follow for the best benefits. So whether they're under 14 or between 14 and 21 or over 21 is going to have an impact on what you need to do to be legally compliant and also on the tax benefits you could potentially get. So we're actually going to start by talking about older relatives that you might want to hire who are over 21 in age. You can always hire a relative that is over 21, and you're just going to pay them as you normally would any other employee. Now, you're still going to get that benefit of being able to shift your income from a higher tax bracket, i.e. yours, to a lower tax bracket, assuming their tax bracket is lower. And so this could work for adult children. This could work for nieces and nephews that are adults. This could work for parents, right? This is a way to be able to write off the amounts that you pay them in your business, assuming they are actually working for your business, and for them to be able to get income at their income tax rate, which again, depending on what other money they're making or how much they're making with you, could be 0%. Now, you are still going to be subject to FICA taxes, i.e. payroll taxes for them. But again, this could be still worth it for you because of that shift in income tax rates from yours to theirs. Now let's go to age 14 to 21, and this is where it gets a slight bit more complicated. So if you're trying to hire them and you are the primary guardian, let's go down that path first, okay? If you are the primary guardian, that makes things a little bit easier. Say it's your child that you're trying to hire. Then you're going to go to the question on whether you are taxed as a corporation, an S corporation or a C corporation. And let's say you're not. Maybe you're an LLC or a sole proprietor, not taxed as a corporation. That simplifies things quite a bit. So we're going to go to no. And then you're going to see, does your business have owners other than yourself or your spouse? So do you have another partner that isn't you or your spouse in the business or the parent of the child, okay? And if the answer to that is no, that's gonna simplify things a lot. So you're gonna end up down there to say it's okay to hire, you're exempt from federal payroll taxes if they're under 18, and exempt from federal unemployment if they're under 21. So this is the best case scenario that gets you out of the most taxes. If you are the parent of the child and if you don't have a corporation, it simplifies things a lot. You can hire them directly from your business, pay them directly from your business on payroll, and you are going to get the best tax benefits. But don't worry if some of those don't apply to you, if maybe you said no to some of those, let's walk through what that means for you. Now, I have an entire video on family management companies and what it really means to be a family management company and how this actually works in practice. So definitely go check that out. But just know that it is possible to take this extra step and therefore get out of payroll taxes. So now let's go back to the top of this and say you're not the primary guardian for a 14 to 21-year-old. Okay, what does that mean for you? Well, in that case, we're just going to go straight to the question about whether they will be employed by a family management company. Now, let's say you are a grandparent who is trying to employ your grandchild, and you are wondering whether you should set up a family management company. The family management company actually needs to be set up by the parent. So again, it can just be a sole proprietor that essentially is managing the child, and that child is essentially working for your business, but your business is invoicing the family management company. The family management company is paying the child. It's a little bit more complex, but once it's set up, it's really not so bad. But that family management company has to be officially owned by the parent of the child. So that's true whether you're trying to employ a grandchild, a niece or a nephew, anyone like that, if you're trying to get out of having to pay payroll taxes for them. If you're not worried about that 15.3%, then you can go ahead and employ them directly from your business, even as their guardian. So ultimately, whether you go through that extra step to set up that family management company or have the parents do that is going to be dependent on your overall goals. How important is it to you? How much do you plan to pay them, right? You can calculate out what about 15.3% of what you're going to pay them is going to equate to and decide if it's really worth going through that extra step. So now let's get to the more complicated one, and that is under 14. If you have a child that is under 14, there are exemptions from child labor laws for kids to be able to work for fully parent-owned companies, and generally those are not going to be corporations either. So as long as one or both parents owns the company, and that company is an LLC or a sole proprietor, okay, not a corporation, then you can employ your child under 14 and you're going to have all those benefits that I have talked about. And those minimum ages don't apply to you because the company is owned entirely by you, the parent. Now, if you're in the situation where you are a grandparent or maybe an aunt or an uncle trying to employ a child under 14 in your business, it is going to get more complicated because you're not exempt from those child labor laws around minimum ages if you're not the parent. Okay, so it's only parent-owned businesses that can fall into that exemption. Nobody else can employ a child under 14. However, again, a family management company can come in here and can be established by the parent that allows that child to then work for your business. You would bill the family management company would pay the child. And again, they're officially working for the family management company, not for your business. So now that we've talked about some of the ins and outs of this strategy and how it applies depending on the child's age and what your relationship to the child is, there are a couple watch outs that I want to talk about here. So first and foremost, the family member really needs to be working for you. Okay, this is not just putting them on payroll to do work. This is real actual work that needs to be documented and supportable. Okay, so that's the next thing, is to make sure that you have documented this well. What does it mean to document well? Well, you need to treat them just like you would any other employee. You need to have support for what you determined their pay should be. It can't just be the highest amount you can think of. You need to make sure that you're supporting it and doing some research on what an appropriate level of pay is, and you need to be logging the work that they are actually doing for you. All right, so that's really important. You can do this on a time tracking app or even just a spreadsheet, but you need to be able to support that, yes, they actually did the work you're saying that they did and that you are paying them for. Now, if you are potentially going to go down the family management company road, that is something you can absolutely do, but there are some more watch outs, some things that you want to make sure you're doing correctly, like contracts, and just the way that you set it up needs to be as legitimate as as possible in order to support that in case you are ever audited. So it's really, really important to have that documentation in place. Now, if you're wondering how you're going to do all of this yourself, well, I have something to help you. So the Hiring Your Kids Toolkit is my signature toolkit, which is all about hiring your kids or another family member to work in your business and doing it the right way. So we want to maximize tax benefits, but still not get in trouble legally or with Uncle Sam. So that is what we have within the toolkit. It has video lessons, but then it also has all the tools you need, like the contracts and the work log and things like that, in order to do it the right way. So definitely check that out. And because we're walking into summer, which is a great time to be employing your kids or your family members, we are doing a special promo right now with some extra bonuses if you go check it out right now. So remember how I mentioned that I had a bonus strategy about making your child a millionaire? Well, that is the Roth IRA. I love the fact that you can set up a custodial Roth IRA for a child or a grandchild, and you can contribute to it as long as you have earned income. And that earned income can turn into millions by the time they turn 65. Starting early is the key to being able to have a tremendous amount of tax-free growth. I have an entire video that goes into this and shows you the absolutely insane calculation examples for what this money can turn into when you start early. Time is your friend when it comes to compounding. So go check out that video right now. Thanks so much for watching. If you have questions, make sure to comment down below with them. Also, make sure to go check out our Hiring Your Kids Toolkit, which has some great bonuses right now, and I will see you next time.